What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're here with African Tigress out of Nairobi, Kenya. Now, African Tigress, discovered her channel maybe a month or two ago, as they had a WhatsApp group, and we had talked a little bit just here and there. And I know you've been seeing the Kinganda episodes, more so kind of directed and guided by O'Shea Duke Jackson. They're going to start a Kenya version. Well, the difference with the Kenya version is that I'm going to be kind of more so involved with that and its inception and some kind of direction. So letting you guys know up front, African Tigress is one of the people that's going to be helping us with that. So I wanted to, introduce you to her. She also does the YouTube channel as well, when she travels to different African nations, and her channel's growing. I think she's crossed over 6,000 subscribers. So African Tigress, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for hosting me.
All right, so African Tigress, tell people a little bit about yourself. I mean, first time you've been on the show. I mean, where you from? And what got you to start that YouTube channel?
Oh, well, my name is African Tigress. I'm from Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. I started my YouTube channel last year in around October, but really I wasn't talking about it until about February. I decided to really be serious about it, and I thought it would be a nice platform to do some advocacy work and to also just share, because I love traveling. So share my memories, my travel experiences, traveling in Africa, how to travel in Africa, and also to just educate people on Africa. There are lots of things that people don't know about Africa, or they just have assumptions, and the Western media doesn't really portray the true Africa.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned that. Did you hear recently about the New York Times that they're looking for a correspondent in Nairobi, and a lot of Kenyans got upset as of recent because they were saying that they want someone to show basically the conflicts, basically the bad that's in Kenya. And I don't know if you heard about this, but a lot of Kenyans are very upset. And this is, the New York Times, quote unquote Western media, which is, we would say, white media. We don't, let's call it what it is. What do you think about the New York Times doing that?
Because, I feel especially being a white media, they always want to ensure that they remain, or they like the supreme, the supreme beings. So that's why when it comes to Africa, all they want to show is conflict, disease, poverty, and all that. So I think that's the reason why because trust me, if we had an African media house, we would never have that chance. We would not be allowed to do such kind of stories in the US or wherever in the world. But now for Africa, they have to really try to ensure and convince people, and also make Africa, because a lot of Africans unfortunately read a lot of the New York Times, and they read a lot from the Western media. So it also gets into their mind to believe that they are not as strong or not as powerful. What the media feeds them, it kind of gets into their mind, and they believe that is what they are, which is not true.
All right, now you're talking about they're reading things like the New York Times or looking at CNN, which is some of the worst possible. In the U.S., it's been a great rejection of what we call mainstream media, which is the white platforms like your New York Times, your CBS, your NBC. We all have rejected that now, so much so that they're having to do subscription service to keep their websites going now, when they've never had to do that before. So more of the independent creators, myself and many great other, Black American creators, at least in our community, are really giving the news to the people. So why is it that they're still listening to a entity that's basically dying? Because the old mainstream media is dying, and they're trying everything they can to stop it from happening. But now it's more so the independent creators. So why haven't they made the switch from, white mainstream to Black independent creators?
Unfortunately, I think a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people are busy trying to a lot of people are really trying to get on with their businesses and all that, they really not put much attention into like, oh, this is black, this is white and all that. It's something I think that starts from way back when we are kids, because we've always been taught, or from schools and the curriculum, which I wish like a lot needs to be changed in the curriculum. We are taught like what comes from the West is better than what we have. So a lot of people haven't like really switched, but slowly, I guess, slowly as time goes by, people are like really learning and changing. But a lot of people still believe that whatever comes from the West is better than what comes from us. So that's why you would find some people would be so happy, and they would be like, there are people who are kind of ignorant, and there are the people we are trying to like really help. The ones who say like, I don't watch local news, I don't watch, so they're always watching, oh, if I want anything, I'll just watch CNN, BBC and stuff like that. So I think it's just some sort of ignorance, not all people, but there's some people, like a good number of people are still kind of ignorant to the realities.
All right, so let's talk about the young population then. Most of which I've been reading, the young population is more so on smartphones. And so is the younger population a little bit more hip to what's going on in the world versus the older population?
I think, yes, I think the younger population has more information due to the smartphones, and also the fact that now people have started embracing alternative media, like getting news maybe from social media and trying to get news from YouTube. I think the younger generation is better than the older generation that believe in the old. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the issue that some of us, we talk about it with, Black Americans, and then, some of us coming to the continent. And what I have found out is that because of what you said just now about looking at the New York Times is not going to present Black Americans in the best light, right? They're going to show the worst, like what they want to do in Kenya. They want to show the worst of Kenya, not the best. So you may have a small section of people who's doing bad things, and they want to say, oh, this is what Kenya is, this is what Nairobi is, just like with Black Americans, because they hate our guts. I mean, I know you know that enough.
I know that.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any clue how much they hate Black Americans?
Yes, I do. I do, because I read a lot. I watch a lot of Black content. So I actually know a lot about that. And it's so disappointing. Like, one you mentioned the New York Times. When we had a terror attack earlier this year, and it was so disrespectful that the New York Times put photos of dead people on their website, which they would never do it over there. But since it's in Kenya, it's in Africa, they take, like you bump into a body of your child, of your relative, into some website who has been shot dead.
Well, let me add to that. I'm gonna add to this. They don't like to show white people dead, because they will show a Black American dead. Recently you had a person from Guatemala or Honduras or whatever. They tried to cross into the United States through the Rio Grande River. There was a man and a little girl ended up drowning. A man and a little girl. I think this little girl maybe like 4 years old. They took the picture of that, and they had that picture everywhere. Now, you don't see pictures of white people plastered dead all over the place.
So disrespectful. That's
yeah, because they don't care about nobody but themselves.
Yeah, that's when I know that. They're so selfish,
And what frustrates me, and maybe other Black Americans, is that they can go to African nations, and I've seen this. Even one video I posted, I probably have to show you the link, when they were talking about them in Uganda with the Kinganda episode, and they say, oh, they have money, and I'm looking at the way they were describing them, and I'm like, man, come on, man. It's like, we get frustrated when we hear things like that, because we know what they do and we know who they truly are and we know how they think, right? But then they come into African nations and then they're like received. And then I heard one story, you can correct me if I'm wrong, where they had some Africans sitting there and then they was told to get up so some white people could come sit down in a restaurant. Does that happen too?
that does happen. That is like a very big problem, not just in Kenya, but all over Africa. I think a lot of people can worship the white people. For instance, in situations, yesterday I did post a video. There's this guy who's traveling to Burundi, and the last bit he said, "Oh, goodbye, I'm going to Burundi, the world's poorest country." Like, I called out on that guy because the guy who there is from his channel, his aim is to show like extreme situations in Africa. So chances are, I believe this guy, in order for his channel and people to like really enjoy watching it, he creates situations. So his channel will be kind of mocking Africans and all that. I did a video about that yesterday, and unfortunately, like in a country like Burundi, I was there. It's very beautiful. I did make videos there, but it's very difficult for me to make videos there as much as I'm trying to promote, to just show the positive sides and, like the beauty of Burundi. It's so unfortunate because this guy is going to Burundi and he's going to have a very easy time to make videos just showing poverty. People will be there lining up, giving them their kids to take photos with. It's crazy. They have it easier here.
Yeah, well, let me ask you a question though, because and maybe you can explain this to me. When I went to Ethiopia last year, I was in Addis Ababa. I was standing there talking with Kellen. I was waiting, and they had some, I think they were white Americans though. I think so. No matter of fact, I know they were. And I was standing there, and I was talking with him, and I had on the original Black Panther Party shirt from the '60s. And I don't know if you know about that. Well, they heard me talking, and they looked at my shirt, and they were like, "Oh hell, a Black American's here!" Like their whole face changed.
Wow.
And then even in the restaurant, when the white people saw me and they all looked up at me when they saw me. They was like, "How did when did they start showing up like Black Americans?" So, I mean, do they have some sort of issue when they see us show up all of a sudden over there?
Anytime I've seen that, even in online platforms, if somebody shows up and this person is like pro-Black, or most often it creates some kind of discomfort to them because they don't want people to know the truth. So they feel like, oh, these people are going to tell them the truth. So right. I think it makes them uneasy, it makes them uncomfortable, because I think they want to like really create that, to maintain that superiority complex. And when they when people are woke and they really know who they are, I think it's not going to be easy for them. So I think that's the reason why they feel like maybe your interaction with Africans would like really not be good for them.
Right, because from what I've seen is that and there needs to be a mass, meetings, decolonizing of the mind, mostly decolonizing of the mind. I did like a 7-part series of that on my podcast. And, because I tell you what, I go to Nairobi, African Tigress. They better not come up to me talking about, could you get up out of the seat of these white people? I'm like, African Tigress, look, that's going to be a good video. I say, turn on your camera because what's about to happen? I'm not moving for crap. I'm like, look, please, I'm not that brother to tell that to. I said, we dealt with that mess in America. Well, at one point in time, they used to tell us to get up out of seats and make us go to the back of the bus. We fought for that. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to no African nation and getting up for them. It ain't happening. I'm like, you can go back where you come from, but I'm sitting in this chair. Now, would they ask a Black American that, or only ask Africans that question about get up for them?
I think I haven't had a situation, personally, I haven't had a situation where I had to, and chances are I cannot, I cannot stand up for a white man to sit. Why? Why should I? In my own country? Really? I think there's that, it's just some sort of inferiority complex. I don't think they would do it for you guys, but it's very easy, especially during events, not in a bus. Maybe during events they've been invited and the place is packed. chances are they're gonna tell, maybe like if it's in the village, they're gonna tell people to stand up so that the visitors can sit.
Okay. Well, see, that's when you got to change that mindset. You got to change that mindset, Tigers. See, the thing is, in Kenya, they had colonized Kenya. I was given this book actually by Dr. Moonby, actually, the histories of the hanged, and they talked about, as I was reading through this book, what actually happened in Kenya with the nationalism brought by the British power. Okay, and they done all kind of horrible, horrible things to the people in Kenya. So I'm like, why in the world are you even receiving them like that when they done things, to Kenya?
Unfortunately, I think the problem starts with our leadership.
Okay.
Our problem starts with our leadership because of corruption, not just in Kenya, but corruption all over Africa, and our leaders worshiping them. That's the way, like, people, when people watch you're a leader and that's what you're doing, that's what they definitely will do. And the problem basically is the leaders. The leaders have allowed them to come to Kenya, and unfortunately they can do, there was this incident of some Americans who came, some white Americans who came and started like a children's home, and they were like really raping the girls and all that. Then, and if it was a Kenyan, that person would have rot in jail. But because he was American, I don't know how they made their way out, and they went back to the US. So I think the problem is our leadership and corruption. That's the reason why I think a lot of people don't even have the power to like really fight over stuff like that, because they doing what their leaders are doing.
Right, but do you think that, and I've seen this just kind of in the past, do you remember when Zambia was having they were saying that the Chinese were going to take over control of their electric company? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and do you remember how it was a big backlash, even to the Black American community got upset and involved, said, wait a minute, why the hell are you trying to take over? And it was really people was talking about it, so much so that China say, oh, wait, we're not going to do anything. They were trying to, now we know good and well they were trying to do, but the pressure that came on internationally made them kind of back off. So what I'm meaning by that is this. Do you think by exposing what they are really doing in Africa, like wrongdoing, these missionaries coming in? I know in Mombasa, there was a story that was put out, I saw, where they're actually traveling to, and ladies and gentlemen, listen to me, they're traveling to Kenya to fool with children.
To do what?
To pedophiles.
Oh, okay.
And
I think.
You heard about that?
Yep. They're doing a lot of bad things over here.
And that needs to be exposed, Tigress.
Yeah. Yes, they need to be exposed, because even recently there have been a lot of people, like, okay, a lot of Chinese. So in Kenya, there's a good number that are in the country illegally. They get it's so easy because they can just come and get a work permit. And once they get a work permit, they will get a work permit, some to companies that do not exist. So they would say, oh, for this company, and I feel it's a failure from our government, because they need to do background check before they could grant someone a work permit. There are lots of them who are coming, and once they lie, they get the work permit and all that. They're in the streets hawking. They're now hawking in the streets. They're doing jobs that local Kenyans can do. Some are in the market selling second-hand clothes. And so they import them from China very easily and just get to the market, and then they're competing with the local sellers at a very cheaper price, making the local sellers like go out of business.
So, okay. Now you're talking about American issues. So what you're saying is Chinese illegal immigration is hurting the native population.
Yes. There's a lot of Chinese illegal immigration in Kenya. A lot are working for companies, and they're mistreating Africans who are working in those companies. We had an incident where one of them was telling the employee, I can do whatever you want. You need me, I don't need you, because you people are just monkeys.
Now, see, now how did they respond to that?
There was like a lot of people a lot of people like really did. How can I say, like the video that the person took secretly, it went viral, and a lot of people called for the deportation of that person,
Oh, I remember that
and he
guy.
was
I do
deported.
remember that guy. I remember that guy.
Yeah,
Because I even made a
yeah,
video about that guy. He got deported.
yes, he got
And you know
deported.
what? The only reason he got deported is what you were saying. Like, if nobody would have found out, like the international community wouldn't have, black. I'm gonna say if the diaspora wouldn't have found out, he wouldn't have got deported. So, do you see the power of joining with the diaspora now? That we can talk about
Yes.
these issues and problems and expose them is making your government actually do what's right.
Yeah, it's very important because I think if you work jointly, we can do more. When we're pushing as a team or as a group, we can do more as opposed to like when it's just like few interested parties or something like that. If we came together as one, I think we can do more.
Right, because and also I heard like the Chinese hitting their employees. I heard about making them discriminating against the black Kenyans. And can you talk more about that? Because I'm like, they couldn't put their hands on me because no, it would be a problem. But I mean, why are they allowed to put their hands on people?
Oh, well, I think they're only doing that because our law enforcement is not as good. Because yes, there are people who are being like really, there are people who are being abused, even physically, and they're really doing like discrimination in the sense that if in some places I've been told like if the Chinese get into a room or into something, you guys have to step out. And just another thing I noticed, which doesn't make sense to me, I've used the standard gauge railway in Kenya from Nairobi to Mombasa, and then at the stopovers, there are about six, I think about six stopovers to Mombasa, and at every stopover, you'll see Africans like saluting to the train, and the Chinese are not. I don't
Mm,
understand why they salute anyway, because the train is in motion. Honestly, that's one thing I've never understood why it's happening. Like
mm.
you'll see Africans, you'll see Kenyans, they'll stand to salute at the as the train passes, but the Chinese will be there just standing and walking about, which is crazy.
Right. From what I've seen, just what you're telling me is that in a lot of times Black Americans they hear that and they'll say, "Well, why are they so afraid of everybody?" You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you letting the Chinese put their hands on you? I mean, like, you have a right to self defense. Like, the police ain't got nothing to do with that portion of it. I mean, if you put your hands on me, I'm gonna try to make you regret that and leave enough marks so 20 years later you can say, "Man, I should have never touched that dude."
I think for a lot of people it's desperation because maybe they really need the job because maybe
Okay.
they've
Okay.
struggled, didn't get the job. So they would, because if they fought back, obviously they're fired.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's just desperation and lack of employment. That's what has made some people to like just, it's okay, just forget it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, it's kind of like here in America, you'll put up with a boss maybe talking a little crazy. Not to say he hit you or she hit you, no, but talking a little crazy. Well, I got bills, I got kids, I kind of gotta,
Yeah.
but they just kind of
Yeah.
take it to the extreme because they know they can't get another job. But I always tell us is this: you are a man or woman at the end of the day. F a job. That's how I like. I make it on my own. I figure something out. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna disrespect me like that because when these people get off the job, they don't disrespect you like that in the street. Because I remember one time, this one job I had, and this dude was just run off at the mouth. And I told him, say, look, man, after we clock out, we can go over here across the street over here, and we can go just talk like two men. You know what I meant by talking like two men? But he's like, oh, I don't want to. Like, well, whatever. Like, why are you talking crap? You know what I'm saying? I just come from that kind of environment. Um, but from what you're saying, through the desperation, through exposure, what's going on through the diaspora, what can we do by working together and also putting pressure on the African Union as well? How can we all come together on some things to help
Well,
each other?
first,
Now, let me say this: to help each other, not to make it one
okay.
way.
Yeah, first, one thing that I would love or one thing I would love to see is like if we could control our media houses, or if we could have an African media house. You see, like the way we have CNN, which is all over, BBC Kenya, BBC Nigeria, like, if we could have an African media house, which is led by Africans or like Black people, I think if we are a media house that is headquartered in Africa, so that we can be able to tell our own stories, and so that when we're even making news, or when we're trying to like really expose, it's not filtered. We're not told, oh, this is not good for the news, like, so that we can be able to tell real stories. That's like one thing I would love us to like finally get to that point. And another thing, as now, because we're not there, we don't have a media house that like really covers all like African or Black content, like, big like CNN or such. We don't have one like that. But I guess as we have our online platforms, be it like the YouTube, be it Twitter, Facebook, and all that, I guess we should be able to like really voice our opinions. And when someone like maybe talks about something that is really needs to be brought to attention, I think it's about time we shared, so that they can know like there's power in numbers. They can know that we are one, we are united. Then I think that we would be able to would be making steps.
Okay, so are you ready to make that happen then?
I'm very ready, very.
Okay, because that's how I think. That's the reason why we changed our name from Advice Show to African Diaspora News Channel. We want to have hubs in many countries where they can talk about the news and what's really going on there, right? So I know that Citizen TV or NTV is not going to really expose what these missionaries are doing too much, or these people getting away with breaking Kenyan laws, right? Because they need to be exposed. Like if they're not paying taxes for the natural resources, things like that, they need to be exposed, because it's not right. I mean, if you're not paying taxes, you're taking away from the people. The mindsets, like you're telling me, like, why should you be getting up out of a chair? Why should a Chinese put his hand on you? Or the Chinese, maybe, you could show, look how they just coming in our markets and just selling it for cheap. And then now native Kenyans are hurting. Just like I heard about the fishermen, the native Kenyan fishermen are hurting now because the Chinese are bringing in all this frozen fish. You heard about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of fish that is coming from China. A lot of fish is coming from China, which is like really killing the local fishing industry. And I also think another thing, one thing I forgot to tell you, one thing I would also love to see is we need to like really push for change in our curriculums, our education systems. Like a lot needs to be done, and even the books that are being printed and all that. I want a lot to be changed, starting from Christian religious education, because it was in that, as a young child, reading the Christian religious textbooks and all that, they would always depict Satan as black and God or Jesus and angels as white. So even during that time, as a child, when we could have like plays, like when we're having plays, your drama and all that, they would select a light complexioned person to act as an angel or God. And if you're dark complexioned, you'll act as the devil. So I feel that needs to be changed, because it's something that gets into the mind of young children from as early as 3, or from as early as they step into school. It makes them hate even their color. So
Tigress. Let me tell you something. You put a big smile on my face. You understand that white Jesus has been detrimental to the African continent. That's beautiful. That is beautiful that you just said that. You get it. You truly get it. Now, this is why I tell people, that image of white Jesus, you can do the research, you know where it comes from. If they have an article, and I can send it to you, called the 10 Precepts of Slavery Jurisprudence, it talks about how that they had to change God to white and tell the slaves, which was, my ancestors that came from the continent, and tell them that God was white. That's why it all line up with white supremacy, because once black people believe that God is white or Jesus is white, then this is why you have them saying, oh, the white people coming, stand up and let them sit down, because deep inside a lot of our
They're
hearts.
next to God.
Yeah,
Because they're
we
white, they're next
connect
to God.
God to white people.
Yeah.
And that's our problem, even here in America too. When you have, for instance, you talking about reparations, and you got a black person say, "We don't need no reparations." Well, who you trying to please? You trying to cut your own throat to please them? I mean, but it goes back to that. They really, a lot of them believe God is white, so that's why they look at them that way. So people who's talking like you is going to be in the minority. And this the thing, a lot of Africans going to hear you talk like that. They're like, "Oh my God, no, no, you can't say that. That woman's
I do
evil."
get I do get that a lot. I do get that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I will not stop. I always say if I was like the Minister of Education in Kenya, all those books would never get to class to the students, to the pupils, because I feel they are doing more harm than good.
So
They're doing
basically,
more.
what you're saying is you need to create schools in Kenya that teach the truth.
That can be done, yeah, where people get to learn their side, because a lot of things that I learned in school, and then now after school that I'm able to like research and read some stuff, like get, there's a lot of resources in the internet. I'm like, in school I didn't have access to that because I was in the boarding school and all that, and in school you cannot start arguing with the teacher. You cannot, even if you know something or even if you doubt something, you cannot start arguing with the teacher, because that is being rude. You cannot even say, sir, I think, because the education system somehow is like, what I read is it's like copy paste, like this is what the
Yeah.
textbook says, that is what they want me to put in the exams. So it's after school, I've learned a lot, and I'm like, now if I go back to school, if I went back to like high school, and I would be able to like really dispute a lot of things. Probably I'd be a very bad student.
Well, let me tell
you
you
know,
about school in America. When I got out of school, and just even at this age now, I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn a thing. Only thing the school system do in America is indoctrinate you into racism and white supremacy. That's it. That's all it really do. Or it teach you to be a worker, not an entrepreneur, to own a business or do anything like that, right? So I was like, that was a waste of my time. I'm sitting in school 12 years of my life as a child, getting up in the morning, going to. Now, we don't have to pay for school in public school, at least here, but you might well get to a school that like pay for it. Like my daughter, she goes to a school that's ran by, black people, but the school is affiliated with the Nation of Islam, the school. Now, we're not in a nation, but it's affiliated with them. But the education that they give them, all their teachers are black. They teach them about how, great black people are, teach them the true history of what's happened with us, in this country, and just how well advanced these children are. I mean, it's like creating our own schools is the way to go. Because what you're telling me in
yeah.
Kenya and also here in America, I preach that all the time. And the beautiful thing, at least in the schools, at least in Kenya, we got police officers that are in the schools here in America. And a lot of them are getting caught now with racist, white supremacist things. They body slam black children. They beat black children in school. Okay. The teachers, 75% of the teachers in America are white, and that's done by design. There's plenty of black women and men that want to teach, but they won't hire them. Then they have a thing called the school to prison pipeline, if you research it. Black children are always going to be suspended more than any other group because they have a hatred for us because we black. Okay. So black children do better in the schools created by black people. That's just proven statistically. So in Kenya, at least you don't have some of those problems, because I mean, it's just off the, it's crazy here. But I do agree with you about creating schools. So how much would it cost to create schools over there? Like, is it expensive to create a school?
I'm not very sure about the costs yet. I'll need to research on that. It shouldn't be very expensive, because I know you can start a school like a lot of people can start. You can start like a nursery. Okay, I think nursery is what you guys call kindergarten or something. I don't know, like nursery school, like for the small baby is 3 years old up to about 5, 6 years, and then you can start like that section, and then as time goes by, you expand to the class one. We have class 1 to 8, so you can expand to class 1, class 2. Like with the first lot, you can go with them up to class 8. So like you can grow it like slowly. You start with the like now with the small kids, and then you grow it.
Okay, okay. So you definitely grow a school. Yeah. So do some research into that because that sounds very interesting. Um, Now, outside of, the white Jesus situation, and we know how that really has been detrimental on us. When I say it about helping each other, right? So, like, what can Kenyans do also to help out those in the diaspora? Because a lot of people in the diaspora keep saying this, Tigress. A lot of us actually want to come back, but they say, well, they don't want to, why they don't help us give us citizenship or give us a residency or, something to come back. Because, the African Union is saying come back, but, why is it that the door isn't open as much as it should be? Could you kind of explain that? Because I believe that would help more Black Americans, more Afro Latinos who's been, through the transatlantic slave trade that's all throughout the world. I believe they would come back to help in Kenya. So how could that be done?
I think that one we really need to like really work with our leaders so that they would make it easier. I think in some countries it's easier getting citizenship in some countries in Africa. So I think we'll need to work with our leaders to push to make it easier, like for Black Americans to be able to get like African citizenship in any African countries. And the good thing is, like in Kenya, you can have like dual citizenship, so you can still have your American citizenship and still get Kenyan citizenship. So I think basically that one we need to work with our leaders. But I see there's progress because I think in places like Ghana, it's much easier now, and the president is very open about it. So I think it's better now, and we all we need to do is just to work with our leaders, talk to our leaders, and just try to make it easier for people to get citizenship here. Because we need to share knowledge, we need to help each other to grow.
Right, and Ghana is a favorite place for a lot of Black Americans because with people that never been to the continent of Africa, you say, well, what country are you going to go to? Oh, I want to go to Ghana. Well, it's because of what you just said. Ghana has always been wide open and saying, hey, y'all come, we want you guys here. And, I haven't been to Ghana just yet. Hopefully I can go next year. But I was told they even have a Black American community that's there, just like I heard in Senegal too. Do y'all have that over there in Nairobi, a Black American community?
So far I haven't heard of one. Maybe there is, but I haven't heard of one yet.
Okay, so everybody's more so going to Ghana then.
Yeah, also I guess Ghana it's also easy because the president came out and said, you people need to come back home. So if all leaders took the steps and said, you're welcome back home, it would be easier for anyone to come,
Right. I understand that. So, as we start to work on a few things, and a lot of you guys have heard how Tigress speak. I mean, she's one of my favorite people now. I'm telling you, she gets it. She get it 100%. Like I said, she sent me a picture and a video of someone that had a Confederate battle flag in a restaurant. I was floored when I seen that in Nairobi. And you said the owner is a Black person?
Yes. That's what I was told. I don't know. I'm not very sure about who the owner is, but I did ask, and I was told the owner is someone said, oh, they know the son, so the owner is a Black person.
Yeah, and they said, and how did they get that flag though? Who gave it to them? Because I know they didn't order it online. So who gave them that flag?
I have no idea how they got it, and I guess because people don't know. A lot of people are ignorant about it. I think probably they don't even know what that flag means.
Right.
I guess they don't know, because I'm very sure if they knew what it meant, it wouldn't be there. So a lot of sayings. I've seen people wearing shirts with the Confederate flags. They don't know. They just
wait. Hold on. They're wearing Confederate. You saw people wearing shorts with Confederate flags in Nairobi?
Yeah.
White people?
No, I've seen black people buy that and they don't know what it means.
So you got Africans walking around with a Confederate flag on, and they just think, oh, it's just an American thing.
Probably they were gifted with their white friends and they don't know.
Now do y'all see why the black Americans gonna have to make their presence known on the continent? Now you see why?
I totally see that.
I mean, because they're going over there. They know exactly what they're doing too. They're not stupid. I'm talking about the white folks, the racist ones. They hate black Americans, but they want to go to Africa, right? And then they go over there with doing the God knows what they're doing. I'm talking about the ones who are doing it, not the ones that's not doing it. Of course, I'm not saying everybody's doing it. And then they're leaving Confederate flags, and I mean, what's next? A KKK robe? I mean, they trying to sell that now, the Klan hood.
Who knows? They can do anything. They're doing a lot. You know, it's so interesting because even you've heard of stories of people like the ones who come as missionaries who are doing like crazy stuff, poisoning people and all that. It's so interesting that even here they've made like religion is now like a business to the point that now they're even Chinese preachers.
Chinese get involved with it too?
Yeah. I've seen Chinese preachers and doing all those crazy things you see that these other preachers doing and people coming, giving offering and all that. I've seen Chinese preachers and I'm wow.
So wait a minute. Rev is short for Reverend. So Rev from China is like, I need my tithe money. I need my 10%.
Exactly. Come here, I pray for you.
The Chinese have figured that out. Like, look, in America, it ain't no different, because in America, you look at what's going on in a lot of these churches, they get 10% tithes. You got to watch a lot of these preachers. They'll sleep with your wife, your girlfriend. They'll sleep with everything, right? So I mean, that's going on in a lot of American churches. So I guess they all getting in on the hustle now. I mean, oh God, that is funny. The Chinese say, I'm getting in, I'm collecting these tithes. That's interesting. That is so interesting.
I know. I think I love how Rwanda has regulated the churches. In Rwanda, you just don't open a church like that. Because some of the people who come to a lot of people who come as missionaries and volunteers, most churches have children's home, like where they're trying to help children attached to them. And right. A lot of people who come, there have been cases where they come to molest the young girls and boys there. So I wish, it's my hope, and I think the more we talk about it, the more we expose that, it's gonna get to a point where like churches will be regulated, and yeah, it will be a good thing.
You hear something like you got to expose them churches. You got what you got to do is get the people that things that happen to, and get them to expose it and put it out there, and then like you say, you can put it on our platform or something like that. People see it. People are not gonna like that. Nobody wants anything to happen to children or anybody. No, none of us do. So if that preacher is doing that, they need to be exposed. You know, I love exposing preachers. That's one of my favorite things to do. Please bring me preachers that do wrong so I can expose them. I get enjoyment out of that. You know why? Because they're playing with people, and I don't like that crap.
Yeah, of course. A lot of them have just known like it's the easiest way to become wealthy.
Yeah.
Just start up.
Yeah.
If you want to become wealthy, start at that. Even just if I took a mic and went to the street and started preaching whatever verse I know, even if it's one verse, people will gather around. And if I tell them to give something, they will give. And, you know, it's very easy. I'll just go. I know, like, in places, I know where places people, like, are going to sit, chilling. You know, people are, like, there's a lot of unemployment. People are, like, maybe, probably there's someone somewhere who has someone sick in the hospital and stuff like that. So I'll go there and I know what my message is gonna be. I'll be like, you've been looking for a job for 3 years. You've not got a job. You've been tamarking. You seated here. God has seen you. You know, that person will be touched, and even if they didn't have the little that they had, they would give me as offering. So about having a relative.
Tigress, in America, you don't even have to go to the street. All you got to do is get you a little building or whatever, and just tell people that God is able, and God will bless you, and God will deliver you, and ain't he all right and all that. Now pass that love offering. Now pass that tithes. Hey, we got a building fund. We've been running for about 40 years, so we ain't paid off the building. You know, I mean, and these churches in America, I mean, you seen the mega churches. I mean, if you go see these places, you're like, oh my God, look at this. I mean, it'll wow you. All the millions and millions of dollars is going through these churches. And, you know, and the thing in America, they don't have to pay no taxes. So think about that. You have a business
They don't
basically.
pay tax here too. They don't pay tax.
Okay, so tax-free money, and they can just run all the money they can through there, and nobody says anything like, "What are you doing in the community?" I mean, or anything. That's
Yeah.
just so. It seems like that's why that church issue about and all of them is with the white Jesus situation. That's why we got to get rid of that white Jesus, because the white Jesus has been holding us back forever. And now you say the Chinese and got involved, so now they see the hustle now.
They're seeing money. They're seeing money.
All of them see
Free
money for the most part.
Free money. That's like free money. You know, free. Just it's very easy. It's crazy.
I tell people
It's
all
so
the
crazy.
time, if I really wanted money, I would have just became a preacher, because that's where the money at.
In most places in Africa, yes, you become a preacher. I don't know any preacher who's poor. A lot of preachers, their children are studying abroad, in international, like very expensive schools.
Mm-hmm.
They drive big cars.
Yeah.
Some of them asked for like, so for this year's birthday, we want to buy the preacher, we want to buy them a jet. So people are contributing to buying a jet to the preacher.
But then the people in the community don't have no job, no food, no nothing.
Yeah, but you know, if you have like 1,000 people following you and each donated even $10, you know, that's a lot of money. And they're doing that every now and then. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely can be. So the preaching issue in the black community has been a problem. Even see, guys, we have the same problems whether we are in Kenya or we in the United States. Black folks are the same everywhere. we are. So I mean, that's amazing there with the preachers. But like I said, we got to work together. We got to expose all these different things that we were talking about. That's what we want to do with. At least our version, you know, we try to do in Kenya. We want to expose all that. We want to expose these preachers. We want to expose these missionaries. We want to expose these racists that's trying to sell Confederate flag things over there. We want to expose everything, because Kenya and the continent of Africa is a beautiful place. Some of the fastest growing economies are in the continent of Africa. So it's a lot of great things that we could talk about, you know, as well, and show the beauty of Africa outside of just getting out the riffraff that we see. So, Tigress, could you tell people how to get to your YouTube channel?
Oh, my YouTube channel is African Tigress. You asking about my YouTube channel?
Yeah, I want you to tell people how to get there and what they're going to see once they get there. Because I know people now say, I like her, because I already know they're going to like you. I already know. So I like her. I want to go check out her channel. So, you know, I'm just trying to tell people how to get there and what they're going to see.
Oh, so to get to my YouTube channel, just check African Tigress on YouTube. You'll see a lot of content on traveling in Africa. You'll see a lot of content. I try to enlighten people, just to trigger, asking people what they think about something. And I also call out on racists, on those people who are making also racist content. I do call them out. And you'll also learn about different opportunities that exist in Africa, because I'm currently on a mission to going to different countries in Africa to share the opportunities that exist in Africa, so that the people in diaspora who want to move to Africa, they can at least know, oh, okay, if I want to start a business in maybe Tanzania, I want to start a business in Uganda, I will need to do this. Oh, if I want to maybe open a school. So I'll be interviewing a lot of people who are running businesses, and also trying to get in touch with the government officials who are who are doing stuff in relation to business, like the business department. Like in Kenya, we have the business department where you can register business. So I'll be doing that all over Africa. So At least when you're coming to Africa, you'd have an idea of how to start a business and how to acquire property or even how to buy a house. Yeah.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this is not the only first time you're gonna see tigers. You're gonna see a whole lot more of African tigers on this channel. So get ready. You know, this is a great introduction to who she is, and she's definitely one of the great sisters on the continent of Africa. She get it. She get it a whole lot more than most, and you know, hopefully we can do some big and beautiful things definitely in Kenya and also throughout the rest of the continent. So, you know, Tigress, like I said, you definitely take care of yourself, you know, and we're going to, you know, talk and, you know, definitely continue to work together. And also, guys, I will be, once again, going to Kenya in October. So I will actually meet Tigress in October when we get to Nairobi. So it's going to be some, you know, I think pretty big how things going to go. You guys stay tuned to that. So Tigress, thank you for coming on the show today, and you take care.
Thank you so much, Phil, for hosting me. One last thing, I think it's amazing that you guys are coming to Kenya, and I think by you coming over and by you people in diaspora supporting our causes, it makes us feel like we can do more, because it kind of also removes the fear, because, you know, sometimes we have this kind of fear of getting judged and all that. So when you people are supporting us, it really makes us feel more comfortable talking more and exposing more.
Oh, ain't no judgment here. We all just black living in this world. So, I mean, we like to say we just got to work together.